Good morning and good news, everyone.
Balance time.
Balance Dataslate. GW decided, that perhaps things were not going the way they intended, and they decided they would like to make some changes to some of the less interactive
parts of
things
the game
in 40K.
The clouds have parted. The sunlight has come through. It is a glorious day to be a Warhammer player.
Yeah, no, that is an Eldar player talking too. So, Games Workshop put out a balance update. Not too many things were affected. If most things in your army, if you're wondering what's affected in my army, not much, probably. Unless they had towering or indirect, that seems to be the common theme. Or unless they're an Eldar.
Yeah.
So not too much got affected, but the problem players got affected.
Yes.
Nothing got brought up, but plenty of stuff that was too good, too non-interactive got brought down, which is great. Got brought up in points, whatever. You get the point. So we're very excited. We think this is a great. Thing for 40K because I don't know if you pay attention to the last round of tournaments, but it looks like Games Workshop has 9 out of 11 GT size events were won by Eldar. One of them I think didn't have Eldar.
I think.
Yeah, one of I don't know. I'm not up on the stats exactly, but they had a very high win rate. Knights had a very high win rate. GSC had a very high win rate. Not particularly healthy.
GSC not touched, though.
GSC not touched. Well, yeah. That's fine. It's fine. It's all right.
Okay. So, the TLDR here, before we get into it, is nothing got brought up, and a few things got brought down, mostly towering, indirect, and Eldar.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, before we get into it, let's talk about the War Room. So, if you like these kind of discussions, and you want to have these kind of discussions on your own with people who like 40K, who love 40K as much as you do, then you want to check out our War Room, where we post videos like this, going over rules, going over armies, how to play them, how to play against them, all of that. And also we have a global community of people who love 40K as much as you do. That can be found down in the link down below at thewarroom.vhx.tv. We have a 3-day free trial. You can check that out and see what we're all about. If you like this video, please leave a comment, saying
subscribe.
anything you want. Like, subscribe to the video. It really helps us out. All right, let's get into it.
One thing before we do is Quentin's fun fact.
Oh my gosh, it's Quentin's fun fact. It's
Today's
Quentin's
fun fact is that in 1954, on July 5th, the BBC put out their first television news broadcast. And now we have Games Workshop's first Balance broadcast.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's some synergy right there. Some symbol, I don't know, whatever. Words. It's too early.
It is too early.
It's almost 11 o'clock, so, All right, first up, Eldar.
Okay.
Eldar got dinged pretty hard.
Yes.
They're the only rules change as far as we can tell.
Yes.
So the only change to the rule was that you couldn't Kamehameha a million strands dice right off the jump, right? You couldn't just roll your 12 dice, 15 if you had Eldrad, re-roll them if you felt like it, fish for a couple of 6s, right? You get 2 or 3, then you channel 1 through a Farseer, and suddenly you have 4 6s on turn 1.
8d6 mortals.
And then you use all your 4s and 5s to make sure that 8d6 mortals just killed whatever you want, and you just had one Wraith Knight go and just fire the Hadouken right into your opponent's most valuable units and kill all of them with towering.
So what is up here? They added 3 words to Fate Dice once per phase before making a dice roll.
Yes.
Does this hurt Eldar? Absolutely yes. Is it enough to bring them down from the stratosphere? Probably. Is it enough to make this faction bad? No.
Is it enough to make the faction not top 3? Probably not. Probably not.
Eldar are different. They are probably still... They're no longer undisputably the best army in the game, but you can make a very solid case that they are the best army in the game.
Yeah, you can make a case they're the best. You can make a case... I don't think they fall out of top 3 with this. They're very strong. They are now no longer why am I even playing this game? The Wraith Knight went first and picked up all my models and we're good here. Because what is it? If you had 3 6s and 1 through the the Farseer, and they rolled 0 6s natively, because they will roll like 1.
Yeah.
Then you just take 10 d6 mortal wounds to your most valuable stuff right off the jump.
Yeah, there was nothing you can do about it.
We're good with that.
Also, it was towering, so you couldn't hide from it. It was just dumb.
It was very hard to
do it
hide.
in Overwatch, yeah.
Oh, God.
So, like, what does this change? It means, again, you can't just, like, super slam someone with mortals, but face dice are still very strong. You can still use them to blanket critical save. Notably, they're still unmodified, so you can use them, like, once a turn and do 2d6 mortals, or d6 plus 2, or d6, or whatever Dev Wounds ability you're going to channel.
Now it's probably at its best for damage.
Yeah.
For the damage roll, because you just, like, auto d6 plus 2, 8. Thank you.
Yeah. So I tend to use mine for damage or wound dice, and then sometimes I use them for advances and saves, and then, like...
Because it's once per phase.
Once a phase, right? It also means that, like, you never really need more than 12. Like, 12 is about, like, enough. So a lot of the stuff that gave you extra dice, like Guardians or Wraith Lords or the Weeping Stones, is actually much less valuable than it used to be.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So, I like that quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Hunter in the chat says that they're still the best. I actually think GSC are going to be the best army right now. I think GSC are pretty nutty. Mm-hmm. But Eldar is definitely in the top 3 still.
Yeah.
Their data sheets, even though they went up in cost, are still kind of really undercosted. They're really good. They're still really good. They're no longer completely non-interactive, because the optimal way to play Eldar was to burn as many fate dice as possible right off the rip, and then just put your opponent's, as much of your opponent's army in the box as possible, right back in their box, and then play the game with, like, only 1 free 6 a turn after that.
Yeah.
Right? So
Which is still a lot.
It was still a ton. And so you were just playing like a fair game after that, but you would just be like, all of my dice right into this, and then... So I'm very happy they removed that. That was a vile play style, in my opinion.
Are we doing super chats at the end?
So yes, we're going to do all of our super chats at the end. We have a bunch of super chats. Thank you for pointing that out, Quinn. Mm-hmm. We have a bunch of super chats, and we're going to get to them all at the end. Do not worry. Stay tuned. We'll get to them. We'll get you. Hap Jackster. All right. So love that. The playstyle of Eldar before was horrifically bad, like, for the game. And this is way better. I think this is way, way better, and also promotes choice for the Eldar. When am I going to spend my fate die, right? Am I going to spend it here? Because then I can't spend it here. You know, so you actually have to think, and it's still an incredibly strong roll.
Yes.
So I'm very excited.
Mm-hmm. All right, so that is the one change. I like it a lot. I think it actually makes the game much better.
Yep. Before we go, before we head over to the points changes, I just want to shout out the Army Painter, sponsor for Art of War. And the Army Painter makes some fantastic paints. They are the ones that I use. They're the ones that John uses exclusively. So if you see any of our models on stream, they're almost certainly painted with Army Painter paints. They're the only ones that we use. All of our GW paints are in a drawer dried out because we don't use them. And then finally, their wet palette is fantastic. I think I own 2.
I own 2.
Yeah, they're incredible. I used to paint off of cardboard, and it was terrible. So if you have a chance to check them out and just level up your painting game, I would really give it a shot.
I agree. Okay.
All
so
right.
You want to talk about points?
Let's talk about points.
Talk about points.
Not that many changes. They are highlighted in red.
Thank you, GW. It is amazing.
So the theme here is if you had indirect or you had towering, you got points increases. Sometimes quite a few.
Yes.
The Exorcist went up to 170. I should pull up what their points costs are
now.
But if you...
I feel bad for Sisters, though. That was their one good unit.
Yeah, like, I'm okay with us all taking an indirect... Like, I am perfectly willing to be like, I will take guard indirect batteries going up in points if it... I will take extras going up in points if it means guard indirect go up in points.
I think that the indirect keyword should be removed from the game.
That's my opinion too, but they seem to not want to do that. So
I get why it's here. I get that, like, Basilisks should be able to, like, shell you from behind a wall, but I think that, like, we're already playing a game of abstractions, and I think that if they should just replace indirect fire with something else entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yes, it went up 30 points. 30 points for an Exorcist is a lot. that is a serious hit to sisters, and that sucks, unfortunately.
Yeah. Sorry.
Sorry.
Sorry, sisters players.
They don't seem to want to change the rule at all, which I think is what really needs to happen, changing direct fire. But I will accept this as a substitute.
I agree. I mean, it's better than nothing, right?
It's better than nothing, for sure. Custodes did not go up in points at all. They don't have any towering. They don't have any indirect.
Cool.
Adeptus Mechanicus,
Looks
nothing
like
went up.
changes.
They
Cool.
do have indirect. It's garbage.
So don't take it.
Don't take it. It's fine.
Adeptus Titanicus.
They are towering. They did not go up in points.
The Warhound Titan.
Weirdly enough. Eldar.
Okay.
So this one, units that have indirect did not have indirect and towering.
So
still changed.
I know they changed off the top of my head here. It is
Yep.
Wraith Knight plus 105, Night Spinner plus 30, Fire Prism plus 20, Support Weapon plus 25.
Fire Prism plus 25.
Plus 25, sorry. And then the Scathach plus 60.
That is a lot of
Yeah.
points changes.
So the real big one here is Wraith Knight at 475.
Yes.
With only one Fate Dice a phase, means the Wraith Knight went from being the best unit of the last several editions to honestly still totally takeable.
It's takeable. I don't think you just windmill slam 3 into your list.
Don't. I don't even know if you take 2.
I don't even know if you take 2. One is still good.
1 is a very legitimate competitive choice.
Yeah, because they took away your ability, as I said, to just Kamehameha, like right off the jump.
Yeah.
And just annihilate your opponent. But it still is a towering model that can see, can deliver a 6 on a wound die.
You still get one just guaranteed a turn with your Farseer.
And you're probably going to
roll one.
You're probably going to roll one, and then that's a lot of mortal wounds, even if you don't get to just make it like 24 or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's just you pick a target anywhere on the table because your Wraith Knight's yay tall, and then it takes 46 mortal wounds. It's still a super powerful ability. It's also, toughness 12 with 2 up, -1 damage.
Yeah, it's very hard to kill. I think one Wraith Knight is perfectly fine.
Yeah, I think this is a very real thing now where you take one heavy Wraith Cannon, one Sun Cannon.
Maybe. Yeah. I can also just see taking 2 heavy Wraith Cannons.
Yeah. I mean, it's just also strength 20, AP4, 2d6 damage, just like a super solid gun.
Yeah, you just point at big things and pick them up, and I think that's very solid.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think it's still just a great unit. I think it's no longer like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, it is a solid choice that is comparable to like the top 20% of the game.
Yes.
Yeah, it's like totally fine.
Totally fine. Night Spinner up to 170, thank you.
So here's my thoughts on the Night Spinner, right?
Yeah.
Is that you do not take 3 Night Spinners, you don't take 2 Night Spinners. There's a very real argument to taking 1, because it doesn't actually do that much damage anymore, and you can't like front load 6s into it. But I like it for being able to slow stuff down. So if like you play against like Custodes or something, you can be like, hey, that Warden Break with the Blade Champ, you move 4 inches and can't advance.
Yeah, that is a big deal, being able to just say, hey, you are slow, and buy yourself some time. It's still 125 points less than you said you'd take them pre-launch. It's actually 325
it is.
points less.
I said I would take it for 800,
but
that was with unnerved Fate Dice.
Unnerved Fate Dice is a big deal.
So I said I would take a Wraith Knight at 800 with the ability to channel, infinite mortal wounds to whatever target you wanted in Overwatch. 475 is about the limit that I would take a Wraith Knight at in its current form. Like 475, I think is probably an appropriate competitive cost. It is totally fine. If you see one on the table across from you, don't be like, it's a Wraith Knight, but also don't be like, oh, it's a Wraith Knight.
Yeah,
it's fine. It's totally fine at 475.
Totally fine. Yeah. One Night Spinner, I think, is fine. Their actual like offensive output is not great for 170. But the ability to kill like some little nonsense unit behind a wall, like 3 Zangor Enlightened or something like that, just behind a wall, or slowing down a big important unit is a big deal. So that's.
I mean, also it's like you should kill like 2 Desolators or like a Zoanthrope or like it just kind of chips for 5 turns. Like I legitimately don't know if you want one at 175. My lists like probably will not have it, but like I could totally see you taking one and it being fine.
Support weapons at 105, I think, is very important. They were still very good at 85?
Yeah, 85.
Yeah.
I like 1.
Still think they're quite good, though.
Yeah. I don't like 3 with the Fate Dice changes, but I like 1.
I hate how they're the same points cost for all 3 when I don't think whatever the other ones are called. I don't.
Yeah, are not the
The
same.
vibro cannon.
So the problem is, right. So like the vibro cannon is a weird gun that you're never ever going to take because it's terrible.
Yeah, because it was originally costed like what, 85?
85. Yeah. And then the Shadow Weaver is like a cool gun. It just should be cheaper than the D cannon. And like I would like to take a Shadow Weaver if it was like 40 points.
Yeah, I'm not sure why they made it the same. This is one of the weirdest ones where like the different support weapons are not the same efficacy.
Unit?
They're
Like,
just not, and like I don't know why they're priced the same.
I understand the price the same if it's like this tactical marine sergeant has a power sword or a power fist or a thunder hammer or a chainsword. They do fundamentally the same thing. Like one hits slightly harder than the other, but they're all kind of the same. Like the D cannon and the vibro cannon and the Shadow Weaver are like fundamentally different units that do different things.
Yeah.
Like the Shadow Weaver planks at you in the back and kills like one cultist and then makes you -1 to hit. The D cannon is like that tank flip on its head.
Yeah. Can be, cannot be.
It could also, it's kind of swingy. I like one. One. My list is probably going to have one.
And then, big change also, the Fire Prism went up 25 points.
Cut some for 25 points, and you include 3 of these or 2 of these in your list. This thing is incredible. So, 125 was like laughably cheap.
Yeah,
150
it was an
is
insane
like...
points cost.
So the Gladiator Lancer is broken. It is an amazing tank, one of the best main battle tanks in the game, at 145, I think.
Something like that.
The Fire Prism is probably better. You could make an argument that the Lancer's a little bit better. They're about the same. The Lancer's gun is slightly better, but the Fire Prism has a blast profile, but the Lancer has more... Whatever. They're about the same. They cost about the same. The Lancer's incredible. The Fire Prism's amazing. You would take both. You take your Fire Prisms. 150 is still laughably cheap for this thing.
Well, the Fire Prism is wildly better than a Lancer, but that's fine. It's 5 points more expensive, I guess.
Sure, whatever.
Reels both hit rolls, has a blast profile, moves much faster, has fly, and
Flat
also
6
all of
versus
its
D3 plus 6 with
all of its guns can be channeled through it, and then it can fire and fade. Yeah, that's not something Anyways, moving on. There's been a stiff debate in this house as to whether a Lancer or a Fire Prism is better. Quentin thinks the Lancer's better. Every single other person in the house thinks the Fire Prism is way better.
I am the only person in this house who's played with both a Lancer and a Fire Prism. And I know which one I'd rather have.
All right, Scathach Wraith Knight. Up to 440.
This thing went from being like a cute, kind of off-the-wall thing that was probably too cheap at 385, and it is bad now.
Yes. Yeah, I don't think it's amazing.
Yeah.
All right. So everything else is unchanged, and a lot of this stuff is still insane. Hornets at 80 are wild.
Yeah, I don't know who wrote that one.
Wraithguard at 31 points a model are really, really good. We've got Warp Spiders, we've got Vipers, Warwalkers, Rangers. I mean, take your pick, really. They're all good. They're all good.
This codex is not hurting for choice.
The Avatar, love all this. All right. Agents of the Imperium, exactly the same. As I said, they're not really trying to buff any armies. I don't think anything went down in points.
I think, like, what their philosophy here was, like, there were a couple of things that were, like, actively, literally on fire.
Yes.
And they, like, put out the fire. And they're going to come back in a couple of months and they're going to see, like, what is burned that needs to be replaced. But, like, the game is no longer, like, combusting on itself.
Yeah, if you looked at the meta report, you know that this patch was pretty necessary. Yeah. We're looking at all the guard indirect went up some amount of points.
I think we can just lump all this together. Basically, every indirect chassis went up between 15 and 25 points.
Roughly. Yeah, I think the Basilisk went up 25, Manticore went up 20, Wyvern went up some amount that I don't know.
Yeah.
Death Strike, even though it's not really an indirect weapon.
Why is the Death Strike 160?
I could not say.
Okay. Someone looked at the missile and was like, obviously this thing is broken.
Field Ordnance went up. We got the Colossus going up. We got the Earthshaker battery and the Medusa carriage battery. Not as much as I would have thought.
Yeah.
10 on the Earthshaker, 15 on the Medusa. Eyeball emoji. Like, that is still quite cheap. And then the Praetor went up a lot. Went up like 50.
Honestly, I
40.
I think that guard indirect spam is still a perfectly viable architect.
Unfortunately, I think.
Yeah, you get like one less carriage. You're still fine.
Yep.
Cool.
Yep.
Seems good.
Sweet. Well, no, you just get one less other stuff. You're not cutting any of that nonsense.
Fair, yeah.
Okay, the Primaris Sword Brethren went up because it used to be 33 points in a 10-man and like 30 points in a 5-man, so they just made it all
the same.
They just made it all the same.
Cool.
Sad. All right.
Blood Angels.
No changes. Sad Sanguinary Guard noises.
Yeah.
Like, why are they 43 points? This is like one of the most out of band points costs I've seen, like, in the game. Everything that's points cost is like in a band of like, this is the acceptable point range that this unit should be costed, and Sanguinary Guard just like wildly above it.
Yeah,
I don't understand.
I don't compare them to like literally any other like Marine combat unit, and they're just like
they're insanely overcosted. They're like double a Vanguard vet, more actually. I think.
Yeah,
it's wild. Whatever. I can whinge about that all day. All right, moving on to Chaos Demons.
No
I don't
changes.
think anything changed.
Cool.
Chaos Knights. Yes, Knights
Someone
changed
play taps
somewhat.
for the Knights.
Yeah, they definitely came out of the gate swinging pretty hard, huh? They had the winningest weekend 2 weekends ago, I want to say. They
Like
were like
71% win rate or something.
It was something like that, especially if because the win rate you see on like the Meta Monday report does not account for the mirror. Yeah. And the mirror, especially when something gets a lot of representation, oh, shush, Hootie. It was not my fault. It was not my fault that Sanguinary Guard went up to 43 points small. I'm sorry.
Chad is pointing out that 4 tactical drones was 70 points. 4 solo tactical drones in TAT was 70 points. for 4 pulse carbines.
Sure, they're up there with Sanguinary Guard. Whatever. Yeah, so... Yeah, Knights, especially Imperial Knights, although... Man, towering is just an issue in the game. I wish they fixed that.
Towering was just... So, like, the problem is they were like, okay, well, what if we made towering a rule? And then they were like, oh, well, you don't want to change towering, so we'll just make all of the knights unplayably expensive.
I mean, not unplayably expensive.
No, like,
please.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are high.
They are high.
They are high.
How much is the
Porphyrion? The Porphyrion is 740. It was 625.
Wow.
I want to say. Chaos Knights. All right, so they went up a lot. Oh, I don't have the. Damn, I don't have Forge World on this. They went up a lot.
Yeah.
A lot of this went up like 60 or more points. The Despoiler went up 60. The Desecrator went up 60. The Abominant went up 60. Like,
I think everything went up 60.
No, the Night Tyrant went up 70.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
So here's basically my thought on Chaos Knights. I think Chaos Knights are in a better position to survive this than the Imperial counterparts, because these guys liked the War Dogs better than they liked their big knights.
Yes.
Typically, you'd run like one big Tyrant and then like a bunch of War Dogs, and your list just got hit for 60 points.
Yeah, Imperial Knights definitely take like 4 big knights, and those lists went up quite a bit.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. Enough, I don't know, because they didn't fix the broken interaction, which was towering. So you can still sacrifice your mission play and just take the same number of big knights and just try and your opponent off the table.
At least.
So we'll have to see.
The funny part I want to point out here is that the Gallant or the Rampager didn't go up in cost because it has like a heavy stubber as a gun, so who cares? But the Lancer that also only has a heavy stubber went up 60 points.
No, you will find that the Lancer has an AP 0 damage to like 6-shot gun.
Broken.
It must go up 60. Incredible.
Okay, sorry Chaos Knight players. I hope you like your War Dogs.
I mean, you do like your War Dogs, right?
Yeah. The Brigands are nuts.
Yeah, I don't feel bad for towering going up. I'm sure I will get flamed in the Chaos Knight chat, but, whatever.
Yeah.
I don't feel bad about it.
The Khorne Lord of Skulls.
This one I do feel bad about. Not in Chaos Space Marines, but we'll get to World Eaters.
Just built one yesterday.
I am playing one on stream at 1 o'clock today, Eastern Standard Time. And it went up in World Eaters 105 points. And guess what? I'm still playing it. I just gutted the list.
How much did the Chaos Space Marine one go
60.
It's a lot of points.
Not sure why the World Eaters one went up 105 and the one that gets access to Dark Pacts went up 60.
So we, Nick and I rated this thing like strong choice yesterday, and it's not a strong choice anymore.
60 points is a lot.
It's a lot of points.
It's a lot of points.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's a lot of points in Knights, too. I do not... I mean, I'll talk about when we get to World Eaters. Dark Angels did not change at all.
Nope. Death Guard, we got a huge change here. Massive ramifications. You can now take 7-man Plague Marine squads.
That is sarcasm, in case you couldn't tell. It's fine. I guess it helps build the box.
So the reason they did this is because you can... Plague Marines come in boxes of 7.
Yeah.
So you can't, like, you don't get any extra guys or any weapons because it's all keyed off of for every 5 models in the unit. So if you want to run 7 Plague Marines, you now can, and you will feel slightly less bad.
Yeah. Plague Burst Crawler, notably, is indirect that did not go up in points.
Yeah, that was good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Death
Again,
Watch.
Chat, we're going to hit super chats.
Back to the same. Yes, we're going to get to super chats all at the end. But don't worry, we'll get to it.
Drukhari, no changes.
Drukhari, also no changes. They didn't
GSC,
have any indirect or towering.
Very notably, no changes here.
No changes.
These guys are going to shoot right to the top.
Yeah, I think this is the best army in the game right now. They are insane.
Mm-hmm.
The fact that they were... I mean, we don't need to go too far in detail with it. I think they might have... They were definitely either number 2 or number 1 going into this balance patch, and they're definitely number 1 now, in my opinion.
Yes.
They shoot really, really hard. They have a lot of tricks to let their deep strikes go off properly. They shoot turbo hard. Like, they will just kill you if they get to connect.
They shoot so hard, second only to, like, pre-nerf Wraith Knight Eldar.
They shoot very hard on the turn they show up. And then they have a 12-inch no-shoot-me strat. And then, once you kill them, they come back.
Yeah.
And if the Gene Circle player is smart, you will not be able to stop the blips from coming back to life.
It's like not. So, like, the Gene Stealer player can put them on their back line, and then they come back, and then at the end of your turn, they go into reserves, and then they show up in Deep Strike, and they shoot you.
Or they, you kill an Aberrant Squad, they nail the 4-up, which, at least there's a 4-up there. But they nail the 4-up, they put the blip all the way in the back so that you can't get to it. Or they pre-measure exactly where you can go to, and they put the blip to where you can go. Or they put it in the center of one of their units so that your deep strikes can't get within 9 of it. Yep. And then they put one model on it, and they string the Aberrant unit all the way out, and then they walk up and charge you. And then they string the whole unit right back in, and you're fighting the same unit again a turn later. And it's
nuts.
Oh, it's if they didn't all come back,
it would
still be a good army.
Yeah.
The fact that you kill them all, and the whole army shows up again is kind of a problem.
It's like not.
I played into Nick's GSC. This was like his second game. He could have played it way better. He'd said that himself. And I killed his unit like twice. He kills his army like twice, at least. And it was still all there at the end of the game.
Ludicrous what GSC can do. Have you gotten hit by the Acolyte demolition charge bomb yet?
Yes. 2 units of Acolytes showed up and killed... I was playtesting Necrons, and it killed 2 units of 10 Lich Guard with every defensive buff.
That's crazy.
In 2 150-point activations.
Yeah. Do you know that when they show up, if you Overwatch them, after you Overwatch them, they get to regrow?
Yes. Yes. You show up, you Overwatch, you don't kill the whole thing, they regrow 3 guys, drop the demo charges on you. Yep. Sorry.
So unless you kill the entire unit, you're getting hit with every single demo charge.
Yeah, you have to kill... If you kill all but 1, you get hit by 3. They still have to be on an objective, so it's likely D3. But still, you're not going to... If you miss, or if you kill 7, you just didn't do anything. I'm sorry. Like, if you're getting hit by all the demo charges, they die, they go back into reserve. Like, they go back into a blip, they come back out later and are doing stuff, right?
Yeah, GSC.
They come back out behind a wall, get thrown up into reserves, get thrown down 3 inches away from you on the following turn, and then they, do a secondary take an objective, some nonsense thing. So, it's pretty good.
GSC are real strong.
And they hit very hard, and they have some... The Reductus Saboteur is ludicrous.
Yeah.
And the fact that the Primus gives his unit just reroll hits at all times is what powers the army up into the offensive powerhouse that it is. Anyway, moving on from GSC. They need to get hit in the future, though. Big time.
Very hard.
Big time. They also score points insanely well, and they kill insanely well, and they don't die. What are we doing here? Like, what is this?
The fact that you could legitimately remove the come back to life mechanic from the army, and it would still be like a top 10 in the game.
Yeah. And the fact that none of their units die is just like on top of the shoot you to death, score 1 million points, thing. And also can't be interacted with. Rapid ingressing 10 aberrants 12.1 inches away from your front lines, and then going, you can't shoot me.
Yeah.
He's so stupid. What is that? Oh my god. And then they just walk up and charge you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool, moving on. Grey Knights, the Purgation Squad went insanely high up. They're 32 points a model.
To Wraithguard are 31.
Wraithguard are 31 points a model. Purgation Squads are 30. I mean, you're not taking them. I don't know what to tell you.
They went from being like very like lukewarm to being bad.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes. All right, Imperial Knights. All right.
Similar to the Chaos Knights, everything went up 60. Canis Rex notably went up 85 points.
Yes, he did.
Was he too good at 405? Yeah.
Yes, he was.
Is he too good at 490? Probably not.
Maybe. I mean, he still sees you, he still shoots you, right? You still do the broken thing. The problem is you have less support outside of him. I mean, this is a serious hit for Imperial Knights, but if you were paying attention to tournament results, they needed it. Mm-hmm. The thing we didn't even mention when we talked about towering is that it is hard to kill vehicles now. It's very tough.
Yeah, because they can see you, you can see them, but their whole army's toughness 12, and yours is not.
Yes. But also, like, the game is not as good at killing vehicles as it used to be. Vehicles now aren't like toughness 7, toughness 8. They're toughness 10 to 12. Mm-hmm. And they get cover for free. And basically for free. And strength on guns went up, but it didn't go up across the board. And it didn't go up to commensurate with the toughness, right? Mm-hmm. A lot of the time, anti-tank guns are strength 12. And dedicated anti-tank. There's a decent number of anti-tank high-strength guns that are strength 9.
Yes,
don't kill vehicles.
The Riptide's Ion gun strength 8.
Yeah, so it's, the game is not as good at killing vehicles, and so an army that spams out vehicles has an advantage natively. And also, the fact that they can see you and you can see them. Now, there are things you can do. You can put up solid walls on the board, which honestly just feels like removing the towering mechanic. The best way to balance the towering mechanic is to make it not exist by making every wall this tall and also completely line of sight blocking. There are plenty of events that can't do that across their whole event.
Yeah,
so you will just get shot.
Difficult to it's an unrealistic expectation for tournament organizers, especially if the tournament organizers just spent a ton of time and money making terrain that matched the previous set of terrain that GW released. Exactly.
So, I mean, I'm happy with it. I wish they had gotten towering changed, right? I think there's something a super chat about how we would change towering. We'll get to it later if there is one, but basically, I just don't think being able to see past terrain is a good mechanic.
I don't.
So I think you don't get to see through the wall, but you're tall. If there's a hole in the wall, if you can see over it into something, then you can shoot it. And I don't think that's a great mechanic when the game is balanced around you being able to choose when you get seen.
I think that what they should have done was, if they wanted to change the way Super Heavies worked with terrain, they should just say that no one gets to see through terrain, period.
Yeah, I mean, I think the way that you saw Super Heavies in the last edition was fine. Mm-hmm. I think it felt bad for Knights players. I will grant that. It felt bad. Getting shot and being unable to shoot back, not fun. Knights were totally fine their entire time they were out. They were a viable army, up and down, sine wave, but they were a good army because in exchange for getting shot without shooting back, only on the big Knights, you got an army-wide
toughness 8,
toughness 7, toughness 8,
immunity to small arms fire,
immunity to a decent amount of combat weapons.
Yeah.
It was tough to deal with you at speed, right? So you got a lot of board presence, but in exchange for that, your big Knights could be shot through terrain. And again, it was kind of the same thing where you need to see them, right? So if you're standing in the terrain and you see them, well, they'll see you because you're standing in the terrain. And if you're behind terrain, you're usually pretty far back. I mean, I get it was a massive feels bad. I don't think it was unbalanced. So when they made it this way, it was pretty unbalanced. Yeah, pretty balanced. So if they don't want to make it a feels bad, I think they should just make it so that it's, as you said, you don't see them, they don't see you, and we just work from there.
Yep. Call it a day.
Yep.
All right. Leagues of Votan, no changes.
Sweet.
Necrons. I think the Seraptic went up.
Seraptic Heavy Construct went up from 470 or something.
To 540?
To 540.
Yeah, probably out of the range where you take it.
Probably. It still hits it hits very hard. Mm-hmm. But it is killable in an army that is trying to not be killable, right? It's toughness 12 with a 3-up, 5-up. It's not easy to kill.
Yeah.
But if your whole army is very hard to kill, you have an I win button that's sitting right there.
It's also super great to shoot with Bright Lances that are terrible in the Lich Guard.
Yes.
Yeah.
And also, it's basically a knight that can't rotate.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Like one night.
Yeah, it's the reason why allied knights aren't as good as the actual ones. Yes. It's because you can't rotate, you can't use strats, you can't do any of that stuff. So, like, it doesn't get the benefits that actual knights get, and whereas it has the profile of a knight for more expensive.
Necrons are also very good, by the way.
Yes, they are very good. They're gonna be quite good going forward.
Okay.
All right, just to everyone who has made a super chat, we will get to it all at the end. Do not worry, we'll cover all of them. All right, orcs. I don't believe...
The Morkanaut went up?
The Gorkanaut and the Morkanaut. But the Gorkanaut stayed where it was. The Morkanaut went up.
Cool.
Why, I cannot begin to tell you.
Was it good?
No.
Cool. Not okay.
The Rucker Truck Squig Buggy stayed where it was at for literally no reason whatsoever, but I'm okay with it. And the Gargantuan Squigoth, still 440, baby. Let's go!
I still don't think it's good.
I think it is quite good, but I don't think it makes orcs, like, a problem.
Yeah.
I just think it's a good unit.
Alright.
It's towering with, like, almost no guns.
It was like one heavy shooter or something like that.
I mean, you can take a kill cannon on it. You can take a cannon. It comes with a cannon, which is terrible. You can take a kill cannon if you want to reduce your transport capacity. Okay. Kill cannon's a bit better.
Yeah.
Up to you.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. Space
Marines. Desolation Squad. Was it up 10 points a model?
Yeah. They went from 24 points a model to 34 points a model.
I don't think you take 30.
I don't think you take 30.
I think you do still take 10 with an apothecary or librarian with both their discipline.
Yeah. So the MSU version of this, Desolation Squad's, not good anymore, I think.
No.
I mean, it could be fine, actually. They were 185 in the last edition.
They were good there, oh my gosh.
And they're better than that. Oh, so
sure are.
They still could be good, to be honest. They still could be very, very good. Mm-hmm. But they're no longer your best course of action is just to run 30 and if you're not doing that, you are intentionally not taking the best list.
Yes.
Yeah, but 10 with Bolter Discipline is still really strong.
100%.
Yeah, even though it went up 100 points, so what? Still taking it.
Yeah. What else? I think
what else? The
Whirlwind
went up. 25 points.
I'd still like Whirlwinds at 150.
They're quite good.
Probably still take 3.
They're solid tank. The Thunderfire Cannon did not.
Notably.
Weird.
Okay.
That's Space Marines for you.
Cool.
Going into Space Wolves.
No changes. Tau Empire. The Storm Surge went up. Oh, the Taunar went from being fun to real bad.
How many, would you pay 800 points for?
No.
How many points was a Taunar?
It was like 680.
Oof.
Yeah.
Oof.
Storm Surge went from being like on the cusp of good to not worth 465.
Yes.
That thing just dies.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thousand Suns. No changes.
No changes. Tyranids.
One change.
For Biovores.
Yeah, Biovores went up 25 points a model. They went up over 50% their points cost.
You still take 3.
I think you still take them. John, you still do the stupid things that John was doing.
Yeah.
Where you just, like, use them to screen, use them to do secondaries. Like,
the fact that you can use Spore Mines to do, like, teleport homers and, like, cleanse and screen out deep strikes and move block. Do you remember the game we played on stream where he had one Spore Mine hold up a 6-man unit of Thundercav and a Wolf Guard for 3 turns?
Yeah, because you failed to charge into it.
Yep.
And he put it to where you can't advance because you can't end an advance move.
You can't
start or end one in range of it. And then he also put it exactly where you would land your unit, so the unit just got, like, stopped.
Yeah.
Hardcore, just stopped right there. Yeah, I mean, again, it's the case of raising points rather than changing interactions. Mm-hmm. Changing rules.
Did the Harpy go up?
The Harpies, yeah, it went up.
Why did the Harpy go up?
Unclear.
Are its guns indirect?
Flyers basically have...
towering?
They basically have towering, but like, no other flyers have gone up.
Okay. I'm sorry, Harpy. Yeah. I guess Games Workshop doesn't like you very much.
Yeah, screw the Harpy. Yeah.
World Eaters.
I'm mad from last edition.
I know, yeah.
All right, Khorne Lord of Skulls went up 105 points for... 480 would have been perfectly acceptable. 525 is...
That thing is 525.
I'm so mad that we wrote a list on the Write My List World Eaters thing. We wrote a list with a 420-point Lord of Skulls.
Yep.
And then it went up 105 points, and I'm still playing that piece of garbage today, it just gutted the rest of the list.
Yeah, I think Steam is bad.
Why did I commit myself to playing this stupid thing?
Cool.
Yeah. I don't understand it. I don't think it was broken at all. It was
No, it's like totally fine.
It's totally fine. It doesn't have
Like,
rerolls on
rerolls,
shooting.
yeah.
It's rerolls on combat if you're near Angron, which is excessive.
It shoots kind of hard, but not that hard. It's got train tracks for legs, so it can't go through anything.
Yeah, it doesn't have the walk over things that are 4 inches tall thing.
It's also not that tall. So, like,
Yep.
you could hide behind, like, perfectly reasonable amounts of terrain.
I don't understand why they sent it up 105. I think
Yeah.
480 would have been totally fine.
Yeah.
It would have been totally fine.
Totally fine.
As is, that is rough, buddy. Like, I don't have an explanation.
Sorry. Yeah.
I mean, sorry to me for literally assembling an entire Lord of Skulls this last weekend, and John for painting it yesterday.
Yeah.
I am I'm upset about that. I spent a decent part of my weekend just building a Lord of Skulls so I can put it on stream, and now it's like ruining my list by being 105 points more expensive.
All right.
Anyway, that is that.
We have super chats.
Yes, we do. So, we have some super chats to go over.
If you just hit the top chat button up at the top there, yeah, and then you go to fan funding. Boom, it just says everything.
Oh my god, that's so fancy.
Okay, $5 super chat from Fightin' Dice. The GSC didn't get touched. Ascension Day is upon us.
Yep.
Yeah, bro. GSC are real good.
GSC real good.
I would say they're the winners of this balance patch.
If for some reason you tuned into our video just to skip to the end and listen to our super chats, go back to our GSC section where we lay out why this army's not okay.
Yeah, it's real good.
Yeah. Erwin Buckle with a £5 super chat. Am I allowed to be happy that I don't need to buy those nasty looking Desolation Marines now?
You never had to buy them.
You never had to.
You probably still want them, though.
Yeah, I think a unit of 10, having a unit of 10 in your collection is still totally fine. Yeah. If you're running Gladius Strike Force, them plus Bolter Discipline is quite good, although Bolter Discipline on anything is pretty good.
Bolter Discipline is probably too great of an enhancement.
It's pretty good. Now that it's not on 24-point Desolation Marines, it feels a lot better.
Yeah.
Because everything else you put it on is... I mean, Desolation Marines were just the stupidest thing to put it on. Everything else you can put it on is significantly more balanced.
Yeah.
We have a $5 super chat from Hap Jackster, the evil Jack Harpster. Jack, last night I burned the Custodes factory. Tomorrow I shall hack GW and increase Sangard points that shall go on until you face me in battle. Hap Jackster, send location. I will be there. We'll have the ultimate duel. If I win, Sangregar go back to 30 points a model, please.
Is Hap Jackster who I think it is?
Yes.
Okay.
Will I really am? £2 super chat. How would you word the towering keyword to be fair?
Get rid of it.
I would just get rid of it.
Get rid of it.
Get rid of it.
Treat towering models like every other model.
Yep. Honestly, how would I do it? I would send it back to 9th edition.
Yeah.
I think them being shot through walls is fine given the amount of board presence that they have, the amount of OC that they have. I understand it feels bad. So I think if they are worried about that, and it feels bad, I think competitively it's balanced. But it feels bad. So if they want to get rid of that, I would say you just remove it, and all line of sight is measured.
Yep.
The same for everything. I don't care if you are an Imperator class Titan or not.
100% agree. Like, at the end of the day, we're playing a game of abstractions anyways. So, like, I am willing to accept, like, weird... That's not how this game works. Like, come on, we have, like, Brother Tinnitus.
Yeah.
And the Core Norda Skulls in this game.
Yep.
Like,
if you go by the fluff also...
Yeah.
Like...
Nothing makes any sense.
It's a guard indirect battery 300, miles away from your table.
Yeah. Shooting
shelling you. You're never getting there.
Yeah.
Like, it's... 48-inch range guns that are like anti-tank long-range weapons. It's all abstracted to make the game playable and fun to play, because that's generally the point.
Yeah.
But again, it's not fun to get shot without getting shot back, I suppose. So, fine. Just remove it entirely, and that's probably what I do.
Yeah.
Colt Hun, $5 super chat. Do you generally agree with the method of balancing the game by nerfing things as opposed to bringing other things up with buffs? What do you think?
So I just want the game to be balanced, and I think that they should, like, basically pick a midpoint. I am There are actually some factions in here that I think are a good, like, this would be a solid midpoint faction. The one that really jumps to my mind is CSM.
Yeah.
CSM feel like a strong codex with lots of builds that is not overwhelming by any means. So I think what they should do is take all of the strong factions and bring them down till they're about where CSM is, and then take all of the bad factions and bring them up. I don't think you should do one or the other. I think you should adjust to both sides till, like, everything is in the middle.
Yeah. I also think that they should buff and nerf at the same time, because there are some armies desperately in need of it, and no amount of cutting the legs out of the top armies are ever going to make Death Guard and now World Eaters
good.
Like good.
I think the issue is that when they wrote the 10th edition indexes, it feels that some indexes got the damage is less memo and some indexes just didn't.
Yeah.
And what that means is just across the board, points aside, some factions have access to good guns and good combat, and some factions just don't.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I don't think Death Guard should cost less.
No,
I don't think they should be a horde army. I think they should just have better rules.
Yeah, like Death Guard, you shouldn't, like, the answer to fixing Death Guard should not be like 8-point Plague Marines.
Yeah, because that would fix Death Guard.
It would fix Death Guard.
It would just fix it in the stupidest way possible.
Yeah. The thing, Plague Marines need like +2 toughness and -1 damage, and their guns need to be way better.
Yeah.
And also they need a rule that's actually relevant in some kind.
Yeah, maybe not all of those changes. Toughness 7, -1 damage Plague Marines for 20 points of model with better guns would probably not be okay.
Maybe not. Whatever, like, something should be fixed. Right?
Something should be fixed. I think buffing and nerfing at the same time. I just don't think they were interested in having in doing an in-detail balance patch right now. They don't have enough of a handle on where the game's at in order to target buffs properly. But they do know, all right, towering, indirect, Eldar, these things are all a problem. But
I think what they also didn't want is that, like, the game just came out and, like, most people have played a game of 10th edition, right?
Yeah.
Maybe 2. Like, we're unique in that we've played a whole bunch of it. So they probably don't want me to, like, pull the rug out from people. Like, a Knight player, they're like, oh, sorry, your rules have now changed. Now it's like, oh, you know, your list is up.
Yep, and, like, if some guy's at his local store just playing a game of 40k with his Knights, probably doesn't even know that this points update happened. That's totally fine, but if you're going to an event for people who are competitively minded, that's when this little added complexity of trying to make sure the game is balanced comes into play. Yeah. I get it. At some point, we will get rules changes and whatnot, and I think that's really what the game needed.
I think they said in the article that it was going to come out sometime in autumn. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I hope that the next one is pretty sweeping, though.
I'd like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Tivadar Lucas, member for 23 months in the War Room Bronze. Thank you so much. Why would GW whack the World Eaters Corn Lord Skulls cost more than a CSM 1 and 60 points more than a Storm Surge, more than a Wraith Knight?
Because it gets 4 rolls to hit in combat if you're next to Angron. Obviously. Duh.
Obviously.
Obviously.
I don't know what the thought was of making it more than a CSM Corn Lord Skulls.
Yeah,
I don't understand that at all. I suppose it's because you can get Blood Tithe stuff, but the other one can get packs.
Sustained hits.
Which is better because you get sustained hits on your guns.
Yeah, it's way better.
It's way better. So I really couldn't begin to say why they made the Corn Lord of Skulls so much in World Eaters, other than maybe they just hate World Eaters.
It feels kind of like weird. I'm sure there's some like philosophy behind it. That one feels weird.
Yeah. I don't actually think it's that they just hate World Eaters, for the record. I think there's some idea that they had as to why that was warranted. I disagree.
Yeah.
There's some idea.
Our video, and they thought that we were too hot on it, and they wanted to take it away from you specifically.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Colt Hun, thoughts on the grab camp with Relic Weapon and the Honored Vehement? Seems like a fairly potent little setup. Yeah. There's actually quite a few Space Marine captains that you can make. The Death Watch Thief of Secrets guy is pretty good.
I would probably like this on a Primaris captain, because that guy can Finest Hour and get, like, what, +3
attacks and dev wounds.
+3 attacks and dev wounds, which once a game with the Honor Vehement, you're just like, bye!
I've been running the Honor Vehement on my Wolf Lord on Thunderwolf with Lightning Claws, because when he charges in, he's 9 attacks at strength 6, AP 2, damage 2, full rolls to wound.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, that guy slaps.
That guy slams.
Yeah.
Yeah, Honor Vehement's great. I think there's plenty of targets for that. Gravis Captain is pretty good. Mm-hmm. Regular Captain, Jump Captain gets finest. No, Jump Captain doesn't get finest hour. Foot Captain gets finest hour, and Primaris Captain gets finest hour. Mm-hmm. But I think there's a lot of options in there. A lot of options. Sag Wolf with a $5 super chat. Thoughts on a repulsor for Space Wolves to carry Ragnar and Assault Intercessors into combat? Also, are Redemptor Dreads worth taking for the points?
I will answer this on behalf of the saga. I really like Ragnar. I like him in Blade Guard, but I also think Assault Intercessors are totally fine. I like them in a Land Raider Redeemer, because that thing is fun. But an Impulsor is also cool. I think if your transport's not doing anything, Ragnar is a unit that's very acceptable to just kind of have it like walking on foot, because he gives his unit advance and charge.
Pretty good.
So getting the movement out of the Impulsor isn't actually... It's not that much extra movement, because you can't... I guess you can advance out of it. Yeah,
you
okay.
can get out.
I like the Impulsor. I don't hate it. I think it's probably okay if you just have him walking. And if you're going to put him on a transport, I prefer the Land Raider. But if you want to put him in an Impulsor, totally fine.
The Redeemer is just very good as a tank itself, because as an Overwatch piece,
chassis.
It's pretty gross.
Yeah.
All right, Tim G, member for 11 months. Top 3 armies still GSC, Eldar, Imperial Knights with Space Marines just behind? No. I don't think the top 3 armies... Imperial Knights were very good. Mm-hmm. Still, I think, are fine.
You're fine.
Space Marines was always in the top 3.
Yeah. I think Imperial Knights went from being top meta army to being like upper mid tier.
Yeah, they're a good army.
Yeah.
They're still a good army, in my opinion.
My ranking is GSC, Eldar, Space Marines.
That's probably where I land.
3,
I could see it being Eldar or GSC Space Marines Eldar.
Yeah, I think those.
But I think it's GSC Eldar Space Marines.
It's those top 3, and you can make an argument whichever way which you think is the best, but it's those top 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pandemic Painting with a $2 Canadian super chat. Demons are happy. Brigands remain the same. Yes, Brigands remaining the same is good. There's no reason they should have changed.
No,
they did not have any broken rules. Giacomo S, €2 super chat. Towering triple monolith. Did monolith go up?
No.
Wow.
Are monoliths towering?
They've got to be, right?
I mean, I don't know.
I mean, would Giacomo lie to us?
They didn't have fly last edition.
It has fly now. Fly now, baby! The obelisk is definitely towering. The Tesseract Vault.
Monolith. How much is a monolith?
How did none of these go up? Like, these are all towering. How did none of them go up? What is this Sieg's
skulls?
What is this Sieg's privilege happening right now? What is this? Monolith, yeah, still 385 and impossible to kill, like toughness 14 or some nonsense. Yeah. I mean, they're not bad.
Nope.
They're not bad. Chris Todd, welcome to the War Room Bronze. Thank you so much. We appreciate having you here. John Apocalypse, £2 super chat. Is Farsight worth getting for 10th edition?
I mean, like, if you don't own the model, you should get it because it looks dope.
It looks cool.
It's got, like, the sword and the cherry blossoms. Like, it's so cool. Is he competitively viable? Probably not, because it means your crisis suits have to be shoved super close to your opponent. I really like the Cold Star instead. I don't hate it. I don't love it. If you want to run Farsight, you're not trolling, but he's probably not the best possible choice.
He is super cool.
Yeah. Model is amazing, though.
Yes.
Yeah.
Jack Kanix, €5 super chat. Not touching AdMech is so strange. There's so many broken, missing keywords and unwanted rules interactions. A fix is absolutely needed. There were plenty of armies that needed fixes.
Votan, Death Guard, AdMech specifically.
World Eaters too at this point. Yeah. And they were not doing any buff passes.
No, this was purely the top things that are setting the game on fire. The fire is now smaller.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And vaguely Gene Stealer cult flavored. But yeah, they were not looking to buff armies. They will do that in the future. They've shown that they will buff armies. At least in 9th edition they did. But they're not doing it right now. This was just this stuff is cancerous to the game in that if we let it exist, it will destroy it. Yes. So, take it off the top, and now we can have a much healthier game going forward. Andrew Vaughter, $5 super chat. Well, I play and love Knights. I really love the Crusader. Only went up 20.
Wait, the Crusader only went up 20? No, it didn't.
No possible
There's no way that's a thing.
No possible way. Crusaders... No, it did go up only... No, the Crusader went up 60.
Okay.
Knight Crusader was 415, and now it's 475.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Whew.
How about a Triple Crusader meta?
Oh, still might be there, by the way. Yeah. No, they went up 60.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you want to take Triple Crusader, it only costs you like an extra armature.
Yeah.
And change. Whee! Seiko John, member for 6 months. What do Necrons have that can stand up to the Wraith Knight?
DDAs and Lich Guard.
Yes. Doomsday Arcs and Canoptic Doomstalkers are very good at killing them because your strength... They're actually quite good.
Quite good, yeah.
I mean, I played a game with the Necrons into Wraith Knights. I just dropped one turn one.
Yeah.
And then they are atrocious at killing Lich Guard warriors. They are so bad.
Eldar are actually super bad at killing Necrons.
Yeah, Necrons live for a while into them. And it's also very hard because, especially now with one Fate die per phase, if you can't kill a vehicle all the way, it's going to heal back up a lot. And they have a 4-up invuln. So all your Bright Lances can get bounced. Like, I think actually Necrons are quite good into Eldar.
They are. And the top of the meta has become very rock, paper, scissors.
Sort of. It's build dependent. Colton, $5 super chat. Just so you know, Jack, GW's hiring a new competitive game designer. Get the job, fix your Sandguard, resign, boom, fixed. I'd have to move to Nottingham, I think.
Yeah.
Not into that.
I was reading a Reddit post about this opening, and there was a whole thread crying for Richard Siegler to go save the game. Get in there, Siegs.
Go for it, bud.
Okay.
Necron Warriors, 2 points a model. How did this happen?
Mr. Pig, $10 super chat. Don't know if it got brought up, but a possible fix for towering that someone brought up that I liked, the towering could see through terrain if they got partially in instead of being fully within. I actually kind of like that.
Yeah.
I think it's totally fine.
Yeah, I think that would be totally fine. It does compensate for the fact you have to get wholly in terrain, which is like impossible for knights. So, depending on the format.
Yes.
So yeah, I mean that could be totally fine. Just kind of a quality of life thing for knights, not going to break the game because, you know, they have to walk all the way up to you to do that, and also you could just make it so that like the outside, like WTC last year at least was you can't touch terrain from the outside.
Yeah. Right.
You had to go all the way around and get on a lip, and then you could see through it. So if they did that, where you can't just walk up to the outside of ruins and shoot in, then fine. I'm like, yeah, dope. Just quality of life stuff. Red Rum, member for 6 months. What are your favorite armies to play since 10th edition started? Also, Jack, you're playing around T-Suns. How do you like them? What is currently the strong list for Space Marines? G-Man, a lot of infantry. Love the content. Why don't you start?
Yeah, my favorite army to play since 10th edition started. I have been playing a lot of Eldar. They've been really fun. I played a bunch of games with Triple Wraith Knight, and that was boring as crap. And then I toned them down, and I just started intentionally not taking Wraith Knights, and the game became pretty fine. I've actually been having a blast with my Space Wolves. Because I've been running like non-indirect heavy Marine lists. That's been really fun, running lots of Thundercalf and stuff like that.
Yep.
Grey Knights seem like tons of fun.
Yeah, Grey Knights are sweet.
The armies that got a lot of movement tricks I really like.
Yeah. For me, my favorite army right now is probably T-Suns.
Yeah.
Which I'll get to the second part there. Grey Knights have a super fun build where you just kind of teleport around constantly and trying to never get hit. And it's super cool. I don't know how good it is. It probably fine.
Yeah.
Like it's probably all right, but it's super fun. You just teleport around all the time. Necrons are pretty fun, but that's mostly because I enjoy just taking a hit and being like, yeah, that bounced. Was that fun for you? Like, bounce. Back. Yeah, but T-Suns are a lot of fun.
And by a hit, you mean your entire army into one unit kills nothing.
Well, I sick urge to remind Quentin that his whole army activated last turn, and I still have all my models. And when it goes back to his turn, like, oh yeah, all my models are back.
Twice, Jack, and you killed nothing.
Sorry, bud. As I said, sick urge.
Yeah.
T-Suns are probably my favorite army of the edition so far. I think they're super cool. They are significantly less broken than we thought they were going in. I have had very close games with armies that theoretically are a lot worse than me. Basically, I think we need to tech hard into trying to control the board because I've had real problems just not getting points chipped off my score, having them score points. I've had real problems with that. So I need to probably take less like straight damage and try to just like, please God, hold on to objectives. At all. But T-Suns are super cool. The combos you can do, the amount of options you have at your disposal, love that. What is currently the strongest for Space Marines? G-Man, a lot of infantry. Gullman feels real good.
He is very good.
Gullman, still 10 Desolators with Bolter Discipline, and then Lancer. Just take like a splash of the good units. Scout Snipers,
Snipers and Lancers are just incredible. Desolators are still good. Whirlwinds are still good. Thunderfire Cannons are still good. Gullman's still good.
Terminators are good.
Walking Terminators are actually quite good.
Yeah. A lot of those sort of slow, deep strike units are a lot better because rapid ingress exists. You just show up, walk up, and get your charge as opposed to trying to drop 9 away. Ugh. Sagwolf, welcome to the War Room Bronze. Glad to have you here. Fate's Daydreamer, we're getting close to the end. Fate's Daydreamer, $5 super chat. Thought on Ravagers, Scourges, and Spectre-centric Yannari list.
Read the next super chat.
Matthew Bunting, $5 super chat. Thoughts on Yannari spamming Dark Lances. Okay. This is for Dwinton Quanson specifically.
So I'm going to answer these together.
Quentin Rampage Johnson, please call him by his...
So here is my thought on Scourges. I like them with a hit and a wound reroll. I don't know if I like them more than a 4 rolls to hit. Because the Scourges get a hit and a wound reroll if you run them in Yannari. They get the detachment roll.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they have keyword Eldari, and the Unparalleled Foresight says if your unit has the Eldari keyword.
Oh.
So your Ravagers get a hit and a wound reroll in Yannari.
Excuse me?
Yep.
Okay.
All of your Drukhari stuff gets it.
Sounds good.
Yep, you can also go in transports, you can get guides, you can get Doom, you get all that kind of stuff. I don't love taking Yvraine because she doesn't actually do that much. She's cool for like the one unit she's in with Words of the Phoenix. My thoughts is if you want to run Yannari with a bunch of Dark Lances, I don't hate it. It's also possible that just taking more like Drukhari stuff, more Eldari stuff would just make a better list. But there's probably a list out there that's like Yvraine, 3 Hornets, 12 Scourges, 3 Ravagers. Basically, you take the Drukhari shooting package plus a bunch of Hornets, Warwalkers, and Vipers in Yvraine, and you make a better Drukhari Lance spam build in Yannari. The issue with that is you only get 500 points, so you'd have to like take... basically, just take the Scourges. I don't know. I don't hate it. I don't love it. I haven't put it on the table, but now that I'm talking about it, this list actually seems better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, yeah.
So I might put it on the table soon. I think the question really just comes down to, do you have your heart set on Yannari because you want to run Yannari? Or do you think it's better than everything? And then if the second part is what you're trying to answer, the question is what the Drukhari Lance bring to the table, is that more points efficient than running what Eldar have? Right? Like is 5 Scourges better than like a Hornet and a half?
What are the restrictions for Yannari? Like, are there
no
things you're required to take?
You have to take Yvraine as your Warlord.
Oh, okay.
Which means you can't run a Skyleaper, which is significant.
Yeah, that is significant, and it also forces you to take a character you wouldn't otherwise be taking.
She's not bad, she's just not great, and she's like 100 points.
Okay. I think the list sounds fine, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it sounds fine, but as you said...
Basically, you pay 100-point tax, and you get, like, 2 Ravagers and 12 Scourges in your Eldar list.
Seems good.
Yeah.
All right, our final thing of the video, Brendan Duffy, welcome to the War Room Bronze. Glad to have you here. And that is it for us for today. If you like this video, please leave a like. Comment down below something. Say Quentin's looking extra cool today. And then subscribe to our channel if you want to see more things like this. Yeah. It really helps us out. So we appreciate having you guys all around here, and we're going to we'll talk to you later.
See you later.
Bye-bye.